welcome back to 760 Sports. I'm Eduardo Espinosa, and today we don't have just one. We have two guests all the way from Orlando and from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have Matthew Freeman and Ryan Bowler. Guys, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Eduardo.
Thank you, Eduardo.
We're going to talk about the NFL, something I'm not too familiar with. The NFL came out with their schedule. What are some matchups you guys are looking forward to?
For me personally, I'm looking forward to the first week, and that's going to be Tampa Bay at New Orleans. It's going to be Tom Brady's first game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, and of course it's going to be against the legendary Drew Brees. This is probably going to be Drew Brees' final year in the Saints, his last chance to win another Super Bowl. So I'm excited to see what the season has to start off with.
Yeah, Matt, I completely agree with you. Tom Brady broke headlines this season when he left New England, where he's been his entire career. 6 Super Bowls. That is tough to leave behind. But he went on to Tampa. That's going to be a great game to watch. However, my game that I'm looking forward to is Monday night, week 3 on ESPN, Kansas City versus Baltimore. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, these are two quarterbacks that have just put on a show every single time they step on the field. And you want to talk about two teams, they've got good defenses, but the quarterbacks are excellent. People wanted that to be the AFC Championship matchup last year. That's what we were expecting it to be, but Baltimore fell short. But, I mean, you got to cut Lamar a break. It was his first time in that situation, and I think that's going to be a crazy game to watch.
The reigning MVP versus the Super Bowl champs, that's just too exciting of a matchup. We're going to have Lamar Jackson out to prove that he really wants to win a Super Bowl. He's not just padding stats to his Hall of Fame career. He really wants to win, and by doing that, he needs to beat the Super Bowl champs in Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I got another matchup that probably isn't two great teams, but two teams that we want to see. Week 13, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at Miami Dolphins. That's, of course, the first overall pick, Joe Burrow, versus the second quarterbacks taken in the NFL draft, Tua Tagovailoa. And that's just going to be an exciting matchup.
You guys mentioned Tom Brady broke headlines by going to Tampa, but that wasn't the only move that was made during this offseason. Which team besides the obvious Buccaneers were the best ones in this free agency?
The obvious answer is definitely the Bucs. Tom Brady, huge pickup for them. I think Arizona actually had the best offseason. I mean, they lost running back David Johnson, but they picked up DeAndre Hopkins. That's a big name receiver. I mean, he's a guy that he's double covered every time. Other teams are scared of him. He is a threat. And you talk about a guy who is well regarded in the National Football League. A lot of people even consider him one of the best to ever play the game. So I think Arizona, I mean, along with Devondre Campbell, Trayvon Coley, I mean, this team made some moves, and they're giving Kyler Murray a weapon too.
Hard to argue with the Cardinals offseason because of that trade for DeAndre Hopkins. And I'm still thinking of how the Texans even accepted that trade, how they proposed that trade. How do you get rid of such an elite receiver in DeAndre Hopkins? Right. But my pick for the best free agency moves this season would be the Buffalo Bills. For one, they traded with the Minnesota Vikings for the Stephon Diggs. They did give up a lot for him, but that gives Josh Allen another receiver to throw to other than John Brown. Stephon Diggs is an excellent route runner and is great with his hands and gives Josh Allen another easy target. They also picked up Mario Addison and Vernon Butler to add to their already impressive D-line, and also signed Josh Norman to another one-year deal, adding to another elite secondary to the defense. I think the Buffalo Bills could make a real big push for the Super Bowl this year.
We go over to where there was a lot of movement. We talk about the NFL draft. Which team do you guys think made the best picks in this newly introduced virtual draft?
I think my team, the Minnesota Vikings, did the best in this very weird draft that we had this year. The Vikings had 2 picks in the first round, and they spent the first one on wide receiver Justin Jackson from LSU. He reminds me a lot of Randy Moss, and he will bring a lot of wide receiver talent that the Vikings desperately need. The Vikings also went and grabbed 2 cornerbacks, which they desperately need, one in the first round and one in the third. Both are short in height, but bring a lot of strength to the Vikings defense. And they also added tackle Ezra Cleveland in the third round, which will help the Vikings with their heavy run game with Dalvin Cook.
Baltimore Ravens, though, they made some serious moves in the draft. This was a team when I was watching the draft, I wasn't even expecting them to be that strong. But they went and got J.K. Dobbins running back. They got Devin Duvernay and at wide receiver. And they got Patrick Queen and Malik Harrison at the linebacker position, which was a weakness for them. There's terrific coaching staff over there. Plus, you're playing with Mark Berry. I think they'll be okay. But Matthew, I have a question for you. Do you think a lot of controversy about this? Do you think that the Bengals made the correct decision in taking Joe Burrow number 1?
I think they made the correct decision with regards to Tua's health. I think Joe Burrow was the correct selection there. I think, in my personal opinion, I think Tua is the better quarterback. I think he is the most ready for the NFL. But due to Tua's health, I think Joe Burrow is the correct pick. And don't get me wrong, I think Tua is great. I think Joe is great. They're both going to go on to have successful careers. But Joe was the correct pick. But in my personal opinion, I think Tua will go on to have the greater career.
And now, with all this pandemic, we're still not sure when the NFL will come back or the other football we like, college football. Which league do you guys think is affected the most? The NFL having to push back their season or college football playing with or without fans?
The National Football League brings in billions of dollars a year. The college football, why, yes, there's a lot of money involved, even though it really shouldn't be because it is student athletics at the end of the day. I think college football will probably be the most affected because the NFL is the most tailored to handle a situation like this. The NFL will bounce back even if there aren't fans of games. People are still going to play fantasy football. People are still going to watch the games. College football, however, a lot of college football is built around hype, and it's a thing where you feed off emotion, right? If there's not a lot of fans there in the stands, I don't know how exciting that's going to be to watch, and I feel like college football is a lot easier to just slip under the rug than the National Football League.
I have to agree with you, Ryan. The NFL is stacked with money. They're going to be good for years to come, and the players have other means of making money, so they really don't have to worry about, for at least for a couple months down the road, they don't have to worry as much as the college athletes do. For college, it brings in a lot of money, not only to the athletic program of that school, it just brings in a lot of money for the school, period. A lot of like schools like Alabama and FSU, that's a lot of their major programs is football. And it will affect a lot of the team scouting as well. The coaches aren't able to visit a lot of the players that they want to come to their team because of restrictions with travel. Mm-hmm. And a lot of teams, this year might be their only chance to even really have a decent year, to make it to a bowl game or to even potentially make it to the national championship. So because of this year being canceled, that would mean a lot of schools don't even get a chance to win their season this year.
Thank you guys for your time. It was really interesting talking about football, all aspects of football, and hope to have you guys soon for another football talk.
Thanks, Eduardo. Appreciate it.
Great to be on here.